Good morning. Today is the 16th of January 2025 and I'm going to go through today's levels on watch. Before we start, let's see what news could change the market. We've had, Thursday. So we had news coming in at 8:30 and we saw a bit of a indecision candle from that. What was that? Retail sales, jobless claims, and we do have news coming in, inventories coming in at 10 AM, so be a bit wary on that. That could move the market as well. And then that's about it for the rest of today. So just 10 AM is the next time to keep an eye on. Okay, so on my screen we're looking at the ES and we're on the 1 hour time frame, and we're currently looking. Let's go to the daily so we can see where we are. So you can see we've been in this big daily uptrend for some time now. We're kind of holding this channel. But one thing to note is that we are holding this down this area here. And potentially we could probably clone that line. And I'll just do it in TradingView because I like the clone tool better. Got that line there, and then holding down control and then dragging. Look at that, pretty much. Yeah, so in that area. So that's the flag we're putting in at the moment. We have got increase in volume, so no clues really whether it's going to be breaking out of this flag. That's something to watch for, or whether we're going to come back down, retest the bottom of this trend line and lose the trend line. So that's where we are at the moment, kind of on, we're holding that trend line, that upper downward trend line of the channel, the upper channel. So let's see what happens today. So we can watch for the break and retest below on the dailies. That would be the pre-market low, so to kind of close this gap back down again, or we can look for the breakout of this downward trend line to continue this real big long daily trend. And as you can see, we're in an uptrend and we're just pulling back. Let's go back to the hourly. Let's go to these two. Nope, that one there. Back to the hourly, find some levels for today. So that's that downward trend line we're just talking about, which we're holding. Okay, so I do like trend continuation. You can see we broke down below, held this level as well. We came right into that a few days ago, broke this area here, broke out, came back, putting in a bit of a change of trend. Are we going to break this trend line? If we do, then I'll be looking for the break and retest of the pre-market high, which is around 60.17 for the long. We've got a little bit of space before we get up to this next level, which is the 60.45, 60.50 area. So that's my prime watch today, the breakout of pre-market high. If we lose pre-market low, let's zoom in a bit now. If we lose pre-market low, then we could be just breaking, let's draw a proper trend line, breaking this trend. That's a trend there. We've got this trend here as well. You could argue and say we have broken that uptrend and we come back up and retest that area for the short. So I do quite like the break and retest of the pre-market low, which is 59.86, break, retest short, and then we can watch for the potential bounce around this area, which is 59.50. Big area here, we had a big reaction down. We broke out over it yesterday, came back and retested that area. That's a good long play. We talked about that in yesterday's pre-market video, and we actually watch for the rejection. But you can also, if it's strong, we look for the break and retest as well. And then if we do come back down, we've got yesterday's low, which is right on that trend line. Let's go back, which is right on this trend line what I just drew in. So just keep an eye on 59.50 for the bounce. Yesterday's low, area of confidence as well, and you can see this volume shelf on the left as well. So that's my prime area for the bounce, 59.50, or we're watching a break and retest at 50, 60, 17, that area there. The bits in between, I'll get rid of that because I already have my pre-market low marked up. Keep an eye on this region here. I like that area there for the rejection. 60.38, 60.40. That's our target if we're long. And then if we lose yesterday's low, we've got this region down here to watch for a bounce. That's 5,900, psychological number. And I think that's it really. And obviously the break and retest a pre-market low. Okay, so just to recap, I'm watching for my primary watch is the break and retest of pre-market high into this 60.38, 60.40 area, where we could watch for a rejection. If we lose pre-market low, look for the break and retest short down into yesterday's low, 59.60. Big area of confidence there, where I'll be watching for a bounce. On to SPY. Pretty much same as before. We're watching this 597 for the rejection, which, like ES, we've got a bit of room here, a break and retest into that area. If we lose pre-market low, the next, let's get rid of that one, that's now gone. If we lose pre-market low, we can watch for a bounce around yesterday's low area, which is also point of control, area of confluence, bottoms of pivots, consolidation, and that's at 588. Watch out for a bounce, and then if we do break out over 597, we can watch for the rejection there, which is 600, psychological number, 600 to 602. So this is the area I want to watch for a potential rejection. SPX next. Holding this downward trend, that area there. So again, I quite like the break and retest of this trend line. So if we're looking to go long on ES or SPY, then keep an eye on this break in yesterday's high. And then basically the same levels as they have been, so keep an eye on this area here. This is our major bounce area, point of control, lots of volume in that area. We have 57.70, it's a major bounce area, area of confluence as well, although not a great deal of volume in that area. And then we've got this this is the area I'm really on watch, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of these candles, and yet to come back to retest. So if we do get back down to retest that area, 58.80, look for a long on ES. NQ, again it's holding this channel. You know, I'm not too worried about little tiny breaks now, because it's not a line I'm watching for. I'm watching for a zone, and it could be a bit like this. So that's the area I'm watching for. So once it come in, come back out, lose that zone, and then look for the entry. Pre-market break, we test pre-market high. Same type of thing, out, back in, hold it there, long. So I quite like the long. That will mean we're breaking out of this channel. Otherwise, pre-market low will be that we're breaking down. We couldn't get out of that channel. And then probably the only place I like for the bounce is around this 21,000, which is a big psychological number. And then the rejection is this region up here as well, at 21,800 to 21,740. QQQ. Again, holding that level there. So get break and retest at 520.22. Up into this 525.40 area, that's our target. We can watch this area of confluence for potential rejection, 525.38, 525.40. And if we want to watch for a bounce, we can watch yesterday's low, which happens to be 514, and that's where this big point of control is. big consolidation, tops of pivots, bottom pivot there, bottom pivot, held it there, big area of confidence. And if we lose yesterday's low, then we've got this zone down here, 505 to 501, we can watch for a bounce as well. Oil is still ripping. Look at that, yesterday, big move up yesterday. And hopefully someone caught this break and retest. I think that might have been the pre-market high area long. And now we're retesting this pivots here. So, oh, in fact, we've already retested it in the pre-market and bounced. A bit slow on that one. So just watch for a break and retest a pre-market high into new highs there. And then bounce, if it comes back down into this region, yesterday's low, watch for a bounce, and watch for a bounce at Tuesday's low as well, at 76.30, 76.45. Gold has now broken out over this trend line, come back, retested yesterday's low, yesterday's high there, is that in the pre-market potentially, and then pushed out. So to continue the trend, we are right in this rejection area. Notice how the pre-market high rejected that area. So what was significant about 27.50? Oh, it's just an area of confluence. So we've got bottoms of candles, tops of these candles, bottoms of these candles, and it's where we went to today. And then the next area of confluence is this region here. Volume shelf to the left. You could take the tops of that into account as well. 27.70, 27.60, that's our rejection area. If we come back down and retest the trend line, 27.11 is our bounce. And obviously we've got the point of control. That's where all the volume on this chart is running through at the moment, around about there. So 26.90 to 2700 for the bounce. But trend continuation is the key here. Next up is RTY, which is the Russell 2000. Needs to get out of this little zone we've been sitting in, this zone here. We're still there, so not many good levels on watch really. If we can break out, come back down and retest, then that'll be a good breakout. We could also be looking at a head and shoulders pattern. I mean, this could go on for another few more weeks. Nothing really for me at the moment on that one, so moving on. You could watch for the bounce down at the point of control. We lost it a few days ago, came back out, we have yet to retest it, so keep an eye on 22.54 area, 22.50 for the bounce. YM, which is the Dow Jones. Let's draw this trend line in. You can see got this trend line here. You could say it's kind of gives you the idea of the trend. We've broken out. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Is that the neck? Was that the neckline there? If it was, then we had the break and the retest of the neckline at 42.800, 42.700 area, and then we pushed out. A little bit of a pullback there. That's a trend entry. If you missed it, could have got in on that one. And then we're coming back into yesterday's low, which is the pre-market low. Area confluence. You could say we've got this pivot here. It's not a great area of volume. In fact, there was a little bit of volume here, but not a great deal. So the only bounce area I like is this region here. So if we get back down to 43,000 psychological number, we can watch for a bounce to continue the trend up. And then finally, Bitcoin. I've been trading Bitcoin on using MBT futures. And I've had a green day on Tuesday, I had a red day on it yesterday. I was trying to find a short yesterday, and I think that was my short there. It was in profit for a bit, but I wanted it to come back down to this region. But it didn't want to add other ideas, and it put in a new high. I think I tried another short then, came back down. I think I got stopped out on the next candle, next hourly candle, that pivot there. But you know, it is, I'm only still getting used to trading, day trading Bitcoin futures. That's our area there, watching for the break and retest of pre-market low. 100 K is a big psychological number, big area. See, we poked through twice, tested it, no follow through. So yesterday's high is our break and retest area for the long. Otherwise, break and retest for pre-market low. You could test pre-market high long 100k. You want to see it break out over 100k, come back and retest it for the long, and that's all I would consider. Go back to the daily. This is our key area here. Look at that, knocking on that door quite a few times. We finally broke down, and an instant bull reaction to that. So if we come back down to that region again, 92, we'll watch for a bounce. And are we putting in a downward trend line? Are we putting in a head and shoulders pattern? It's not the most well formed head and shoulders pattern, but if we break that pivot, then it's off the table. Then we're just putting in a new high. So while we're below that right shoulder, I consider this all part of the shoulder, like I consider all this part of the left shoulder, and that's the head. But this is the neckline, the key area we're watching for it to break. So 91.80 for the rejection. And if we do get back down there, we break through, come back up, maybe not today, I'll be looking for the Bitcoin futures for the rejection. And notice the massive big volume void to the left. So we've got nothing until we get back down into this region here. So this is why I'm watching for the bounce. And that's it. Let's quickly look at order flow and the cumulative delta. Anything unusual? No, it's doing exactly the same. You could say cumulative delta's put in a new high, whereas the price, this is a 2-minute chart, putting in new lows. It's just a change of trend here, starting to curve back up again. So we should, in theory, see that do something similar as well. But it's nothing really to get excited about. Okay, that's it. Finished ahead of schedule today. Good morning, Charles. Hopefully the pre-market analysis made sense to you. I want to keep it as simple and as easy as possible. So before I go, I'll just recap ES levels. This is one I mainly trade. So we're watching for this trend break. Oh, that's the worst line ever. Watching for this trend break on the hourly, and we're watching for the breakdown or continuation of that back into the hourly. So we're looking for break and retest pre-market high, 60.20. That's an area to watch. 60.17. Looking for the break and retest of pre-market low. They're the two favourites. And then we're watching for the bounce down here. This is the value area on the volume profile. I've got it highlighted at the 30% value area. I think on default it highlights 70% of the value area. But I only want to see the bit I'm interested in, where the point of control is. And you can see big volume in that area. So yesterday's low, I'm going to watch that area for a bounce at 59.60. And that's pretty much it. If we do find a trend continuation, I'm watching this region here, 60.40 area for the rejection, potentially also this 60.60 area as well. And that's it, keeping it really simple, and hopefully I'll stick to my plan a bit better. I didn't really stick to my plan very well yesterday, took a 3-hour loss. In fact, I definitely didn't stick to my plan because I started trying to trade the news drop in the pre-market. This one here, I was trying to find a short. I shorted it there because it's a level I had and it went through. I think I had a little bit of revenge trading kick in, because then I was trying to find a level. I saw this area here, oh, let's try and short. But I have a rule. I try not, well, this is what I need to stick to more, is don't trade pre-market, only trade 15 minutes after the open. Also, don't trade in the opposite colour candle of what you're looking for. For example, I was trying to find a short, but I was trading it on this green candle, on all these green candles, trying to find a short, and I should have only been looking for the short when I see red candles. So that should be my entry, and it would have worked, but I wasn't too impatient. I think because I've had a few winning days in a row, I was a little bit too overconfident. So you know, my levels are generally pretty good, but this is a news drop yesterday, and normally any levels are kind of null and void, and you just need to wait for the market to settle down. And had I just had my wait for the market to settle down head on, I would have waited. I would have watched it come back, retest the level, and then could have got the long there. I could have even done it later on in the day as well. I think I was short bias all day yesterday, and I tried shorting as well, and I took a 3 hour loss. So, but it is what it is. You know, we can only look back, and we can only make our notes and improve on what we do. But if I go back 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, my trading right now is miles better than what it used to be. So, you know, it's unusual to have a red day. Although my green days are not as big as I want them to be, my red days are definitely lower than my, you know, I used to have big red days, now I'm having smaller red days, or you know, I'm controlling it after 3 hour. I've got my system, I use Rhythmic, it automatically stops me trading when I get to my 3 hour loss, so I can't do anything anyway. And I think putting that into my trading plan and putting it into the automation side is just brilliant, because it just stops me over trading. Right, that's it. Market opens in 9 minutes, so plenty of time to prepare. I'm going to write up my levels for today, and then I will be back tomorrow at 9 AM. Don't forget the live streams on the other channel, and if you have any queries or questions or anything else you want me to cover, then just send me a message in there, or even reply to the stream as well. Okay, appreciate everybody watching, and I will be back tomorrow.